Welcome to the world's best country, Switzerland, voted #1 in the world 7 times in the past 9 years. My name is Ian. I have lived in Switzerland for over the past 4 years, and I've been relentlessly studying everything there is to know about Switzerland. Switzerland is a beautiful, ancient place filled with history, tradition, and fascinating culture. Today, I will guide you through the real Switzerland and prove to you that it really is the greatest country on earth. By educating you on our geography, history, explorers, resources, government, and so much more. Now let's take a look at what exactly Switzerland is. Where is it and what's in it? Switzerland is located in Central Europe, bordering France, Germany, Liechtenstein, Austria, and Italy. It has 3 regions, the Jura, being the smallest and least populated. It's similar to the Appalachians. There's no ski resorts, no glaciers, just low, heavily forested mountains. The next region, the Swiss Plateau, is the flattest and most populated. Switzerland's total population is 8.9 million people, and the Swiss Plateau holds about 3/4 of that. I live in the canton of Vaud, which is inside the Swiss Plateau region. The largest and definitely most beautiful region is the Alps. Harsh, cold, full of steep peaks, this region is an area of undeniable beauty. Some of the world's best hiking, mountain biking, and skiing can be found right here. Moving on to landforms, it's full of amazing and iconic mountains like the Matterhorn, which is over 14,000 feet tall, and other landforms like glaciers, which there are over 1,400 of and have a total combined area of 370 square miles. Now let's take a look at the Helvetii, Switzerland's main tribe. Switzerland is actually still named after the Helvetii. And I'm sure you're probably wondering, how does the name Switzerland have anything to do with Helvetii? Well, in truth, Switzerland's official name is not Switzerland, but really the Confederation Helvetica, so now you see. In the 2nd century BC, the Greek historian Poseidonus describes the Swiss people as rich in gold, but peaceful. Now if that doesn't sound like the exact same Switzerland around today, then I don't know what does. I'm sure that you all picture the Helvetii as cavemen sitting around eating rocks, but I'm going to change that idea. They did not eat rocks, but instead they drank plenty of wine and ate plenty of meat, bread, and dairy. Doesn't sound so bad, does it? The Helvetii were also far from poor. It was typical for them to wear gold, silver, or bronze torques, or open neck rings, as a sign of nobility and status. These early Swiss also had a mind for money, minting their own gold coins even before sliced bread was a thing. The Helvetii also lived and built oppidum, which are fortified complexes that were the center of trade, power, and politics. But the Helvetii only had around a dozen of these citadels. Remember when I said that the Latin settlements were some of the oldest? Well, now let's talk about the other one. Aubon comes from the Celtic word Albunia, meaning white waters, since there's a very turbulent river right beneath the city. Dating back to the Bronze Age, and still alive and flourishing today, let's examine Aubon's long history. Life began here in the Bronze Age, followed by a small Roman settlement. The first historical mention of Aubon is in 1177, who by then had built a tower and a castle on the strategic place. From there, life was pretty quaint and simple. The lords of this town had held lots of markets and festivals, making it a very prosperous place. During this time, Aubon housed many different lords, counts, and councils. But in 1670, a man named Jean-Baptiste Tavernier bought Aubon. How can you buy an entire duchy? Well, it's simple. Jean had been a gem dealer before, and he discovered a gem worth over $400 million. So that explains it. If you're rich, you get a duchy. Under this new duke, Aubon flourished, and he rebuilt the old tower, which still shines with its onion dome roof today. Now that we've talked about the peaceful, calm side of Switzerland, let's take a look at the daunting. Picture this: you're scaling the world's most iconic iconic mountain, with an ice axe in one hand and a crude rope in the other, holding on for dear life. This is the story of how the dizzying heights of the Matterhorn were conquered by one man. Edward Whymper was born in London in 1840, the son of a wood engraver. From an early age, Whymper was inspired by his older brother's adventures worldwide, and he wanted to follow in his footsteps. The moment that Edward was old enough, his father sent him to the Alps to help their wood engraving business out. While there, Edward was hired to engrave a company climbing Mount Pelvoux, which was thought to be the highest mountain in France. Inspired, Edward climbs Mount Pelvoux, and although he isn't the first there, he is the first to discover that another neighboring mountain is 500 feet higher. Whymper became the first to climb Val des Écrins, which was the actual highest mountain in France at the time. But unsatisfied by his victory, Edward travels to Switzerland, where he makes 7 unsuccessful attempts to climb the Matterhorn from the Italian side. After hearing rumors that another, more experienced team would be attempting to climb the next day, and fearing that his dreams of becoming the first men to summit the Matterhorn would be crushed, he rushes over to the Swiss side and with a team of 7 others climbs the 14,962-foot Tower of the Alps. After a brief celebration at the top of the mountain, on the descent, 4 of the members of the 7 slip and fall and drag each other down to their deaths. This inspiring story reveals that even the most ordinary people can conquer the tallest peaks, and that the saddest of tragedies can fall just after the summit of happiness. I'm sure that if you've seen Switzerland on a map, you've wondered why it looks like a weird lump with legs. Well, the history of Switzerland's borders is complicated, dating back to the medieval age. The year is 1291, and 3 cantons, canton is a small state, Uri, Schweiz, and Unterwalden, all hated the Habsburgs equally, so they formed a pact called the Rutli Oath. For some reason, people started calling the Confederation Helvetia after just one member, Schweiz, leading to today Switzerland being known as Switzerland. Of course, most of the factors leading to Switzerland's wonky borders is the fact that Switzerland is full of mountainous terrain, and borders generally conform to peaks and valleys, not straight lines. Another critical factor, and the one that led to the creation of the canton of Vaud, was the Napoleonic campaigns. In the 1800s, Napoleon was waging war all across Europe, and I guess he didn't get the memo that we're neutral, so we decided to invade. But, since no one could stand being ruled by a short French guy, by 1815 we broke away. To help ensure that that wouldn't happen again, we made a new constitution, outlining how we hate the French, want to be neutral, and now have 3 extra cantons, including my own. Alright, enough hating on the French. Let's take a look at some classic Swiss emblems. Switzerland's national bird, weirdly, is just the common blackbird. However, our national flower is the Edelweiss, which can grow at altitudes of over 11,000 feet. Obviously, with Switzerland being so amazingly awesome, it's hard to pick a list of places to visit that's small, but I'll do my best. My personal favorites include any of our 1,500 crystal clear lakes, specifically Lake Oschinensee, or iconic rivers like the Aar, which are the best places to be on a hot summer's day. Speaking of summer, did you know that you can ski in Switzerland in summer? Probably not. Of course, let's not forget about peaks like the Matterhorn or the Eiger, Monk, or Jungfrau. Another amazing place to visit is the Federal Assembly, the nation's capital, which overlooks all of Bern and has some amazing architecture. What goes on inside our Capitol building? Well, Switzerland has a national council and a council of states, like how in America you have the Senate and House of Representatives. Strange. It's almost like you copied us. We also have a council of 7 presidents who run the country together. But Switzerland's government is also federal, meaning the individual states, or cantons, also govern themselves. Let's take a closer look. Vaud has a 150-member parliament, called the Grand Council, with a single president at its head, Jean-François Trouillard. My town's representative is Jacqueline Poitreau, and my mayor is Jean-Luc Angers. Yon is only 10 miles to the northwest from my canton's capital city, Lausanne. Yon is perched on a hill, surrounded by quaint fields of flowers, with a 360-degree view of the Alps, Jura, and Lake Geneva. It's only a 15-minute train ride from the Yon train station to the lake, and, as an added bonus, you even get the cool nickname Fuma, meaning smoker. Alright, enough politics. Let's take a look at Switzerland's natural resources. Switzerland has 3 main natural resources: hydropower, wine, and dairy. Switzerland has over 1,200 dams, which supplies 60% of our nation's electricity completely renewably. Switzerland has been growing wine since Roman times and produces over 26 million gallons of it every year. Our main resource, dairy, makes sense because there's not a single place in Switzerland where you can't hear cowbells. The varieties of Swiss cheeses keep growing. Today we have over 700 different types. Every year, Switzerland produces 8.8 billion pounds of milk. And don't worry that we'll start running out. It's a totally renewable resource. Needless to say, we love dairy, since we do eat, on average, 51 pounds of cheese per year. Let's examine Switzerland's largest industries and exports. 50% of our exports are pharmaceuticals, 12% are machinery, and another 9% are watches. I'll be focusing on the smallest but most iconic, watchmaking. Watchmaking is a delicate process, taking hundreds and hundreds of hours and many different artisans and machines along the way. The process begins with sketching, making computer models, and designing a certain watch to ensure that each part is of the correct size and will function properly. The next 2 processes are automated, the first being machining, where a diamond-tipped drill must slowly shave away bits of solid steel to within a few micrometers. Next, the pieces of metal are placed in a solution of gold, silver, or other metals to be electroplated. By applying an electric current, which makes a solution of metals stick to the watch, changing its appearance. Now, for the final step. A highly experienced watchmaker delicately assembles each part of it in the right order, orientation, and place. If it doesn't, the entire watch will be worthless. This industry employs over 65,000 people and offers a wide range of employment, such as watchmaker, micromechanics, engineers, designers, and so much more. Although less than 0.1% of Switzerland's land is used for watchmaking, and less than 0.8% of our workforce is employed here, it accounts for 4% of Switzerland's total GDP. We're the #1 exporter of watches in the world, exporting 15.8 million every year. I've guided you through Switzerland, past and present, all in an effort to prove to you that Switzerland deserves its title as the world's best country. So do you really believe that Switzerland is the best? Think about our mountains, our history, our cheese, and make that decision for yourself.